What's happening? What's happening? What's going on, people? How we doing? How we doing? Yes, I know it is a Tuesday. It is a Tuesday, and I'm just sitting there going, Rev, what are you doing? You wasn't here last night. I wasn't here last night because I knew I was going to have my Winnie with me tonight. That's why I did not come on. Nope, it did not come on last night because I knew Winnie was going to be here and we was going to hang out for a little bit and the whole nine.
I also was giving you some leeway because it was the Green Bay Packers game last night too. So that's why I said Tuesday because I knew. Well, we could have done a show and
I could have done
game.
Right.
It was like literally the Vikings had the same exact game Sunday or Saturday, Sunday morning because they played over in Ireland. So it was like literally the same game between the Minnesota game and then when Green Bay played. I was just like, it's like a copycat and they still lost it. We did the same thing the last few minutes of the quarter. Apparently they decided, let's play football.
and there's days that I say to myself, I don't know why I put myself through this. It's just unbelievable that I put myself through this every single year, knowing what's going to happen, but yet and still, football season roll around, I run out and do the same thing everybody else do. Instead of, not pulling my hair out and getting grays, over a football game. Like, come on.
I know. Well, being a Minnesota Viking fan, I feel ya. We deal with this every year.
Right.
Next season will be our season each and every year. But, hey, Jordan Love, my husband Dave has him for his fantasy quarterback, and he's
smart
been pretty
man.
pleased. Yes, he did pick smart with that one. So I already lost one quarterback already due to injury. I'm just like, they're falling off my fantasy team like flies. I'm just like, I give up. So
my grandson does. My grandson. Well, I helped him pick his teams this year, but my grandson, who is 13, he's into that fantasy football. And he's a Viking fan. So.
Okay.
I'll have him on. I'll have him on here pretty soon. Probably this weekend. I think he's over this. I think he's here this weekend. I have to check and see. So.
Oh, it's fun though. I mean, even we just do the fantasy league within our family. We have a football trophy. So whoever wins the Super Bowl for our fantasy gets the Schrader trophy for the year. Hold on to it and has to pass it on to the next winner in the following.
Now, did that come with any money at all? Like a couple of dollars or?
Heck no.
I mean.
Them. They're on their own. They got jobs. we got a trophy. They come over here and eat the food. So
right. That's okay. As long as you're having fun with it and everybody's enjoying it, just like you say, it's a family thing. With that. But anyway, I didn't get you on here to talk to you about these crazy teams that we decide to follow and go nuts and crazy over and the whole thing. But before you got your lips right. So Winnie had to redo her camera because she looked like one of those old kung fu movies where, her lips move, and then I hear it.
I know, and I have the worst problem with electronics, and I got a new system, but my laptop didn't come with an installed camera because it's a gaming laptop. So apparently they don't think cameras need to be installed. So I had to get an external one, and then trying to reset all the settings is very complicated at times.
Right.
You think I'd have it down being a podcaster, but and that was funny. Like my last Sunday show, I covered the old Taino murders, the scare back in 1982 in Chicago, because Dave lived through that. He was a freshman or sophomore in high school when that happened. And his mother
he was in Chicago when that happened?
Yeah, he grew up in Chicago, and he was there during that time, and his mom was a nurse at Shriners Hospital. and he was, coming off of the whole Gacy thing, right? And then immediately go into the whole Tylenol scare. With Tylenol being in the news right now, I figured, well, maybe not a lot of people know about it, but yeah, back in 1982, there were back then, medicine bottles like literally were in a plastic or glass bottle with just like a pop top thing you could pop right off, no seal, no nothing, just some cotton in there to keep the pills from rolling
Oh
around.
yeah.
Yeah, and back then somebody either had purchased some bottles of Tylenol and took it home and filled some capsules with cyanide, potassium cyanide, and people, and then obviously either put them back on the shelf or however they did it, but these people purchased it, took it home, took the Tylenol, and within an hour or two they were dead,
Yeah.
and seven victims, and it was real scary because you're like, oh, it's like, are they doing this to food? Are they, So it
It's
was,
crazy, right?
but that's why it takes forever to get into pill bottles today, was because of the Tylenol scare. That's why they started putting all the safety seals and all that stuff on pill bottles and food packaging.
Oh.
Yeah,
Hey,
but
Lonnie. You want to say hi? You ever meet Winnie?
I don't think so.
This is the wifey.
Oh wait.
well,
Never mind.
hello, wifey. I
Hi.
am the Winnie.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yes, it's nice to meet you too. I love meeting new people. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I hear great things about you. I swear to God, he gushes over you. So
Ah.
Oh, really?
That's
yes,
it.
he has nothing but nice things to say about you. I promise. Usually, him and
Oh,
I we're just complaining about politics.
yeah, yeah.
Because it's just like I'm sitting here seeing the insanity that has been coming out of the news, and just like yesterday I sent Reverend oh,
Yeah,
there's
come over
another
this
hand
way,
down there.
Mason.
That's another one here.
This is my. This is my.
You gotta go over here.
You gotta
though,
come
so
here,
she can
Mason.
see you.
Say hi.
Mason,
No,
come say hi.
You gonna say hi?
You gotta look there.
There we go.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Good.
How old are you?
5.
5?
Yeah, I'm
Oh
gonna
my
turn
goodness,
6.
you're gonna turn 6?
This year I
Are you in
did, but now
kindergarten?
I didn't.
Yeah, this is my Mason.
Oh, that's my grandson is about to turn 5 in November, so I'm
Ah.
excited. I love this age. They can be a little sassy, but they're
Oh,
fun.
this is the in between. This is the second one, so you know how that works.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what I got. I got another grandbaby on the way, and possibly another baby in the family as well. So we may have. I know we have one coming, maybe two.
Welcome.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah,
That'll
yeah,
work.
yeah.
All
I
right,
know. Our
Bonnie.
family's growing. I think,
One coming
you
for
know,
13.
Dave took the Bible's verse literally by saying, "Go forward and
Mason,
spread,
no.
be fruitful, and do what you need to do." And apparently, Dave took that to heart because the Schrader family is just growing and growing. Eventually, we're going to take over the world. It's just a given at maybe in the
Right.
next 100 years. So. But yeah,
So
back to politics. That post I
yeah,
sent you
so
yesterday.
so um um uh, like I was saying when we was talking about earlier, I didn't know who Mr. Bad Bunny was. I had
Hmm.
no clue. I had zero clue who he was, what he was. I didn't even know there was a Bad Bunny.
I didn't either. The only Bad Bunny I knew was Bugs Bunny because he
But
was naughty a lot. That was the only Bad Bunny I knew. But yeah, I was kind of like, okay, and I kind of checked out what this Bad Bunny was. He's obviously, in the hip hop R&B realm of stuff. I've never really listened to his music. I'm gonna listen to it, but I understand why he was chosen to be the
I
halftime.
Well, apparently he's huge.
He is huge.
I like I
Uh,
said. Well, I don't listen to secular music that much anymore. I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
rare. I mean, if I listen to, if I'm in my vehicle, it's gonna be some Anita Baker, you know, Sade.
Oh
If
yeah.
I'm gonna if I'm gonna listen to mainly I'm still in the old gospel, Shirley
Mhm.
Caesar. I listen to me some Shirley Caesar all the time. So when
Yeah.
it comes to that music, I've got to ask my kids, you know,
Mhm.
what's hot now? What's out there? I know, trying to think of the rapper that all the kids are going crazy about. I didn't even know who he was. Little something little. I know it got little in the name.
Well, there's
So
you have Little Wayne, Little
yeah,
John.
yeah.
Take your pick. I don't even know
I
half of
have
them either.
zero clue. So when this whole thing start popping off, and they running around talking about boycotting and not liking this, not liking that, I literally had to go to my music and pull up something that he is. And then when I
Yeah.
started looking into him, and it's like the cat's huge, and I had zero clue.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I think he was picked, it's going to be in California, right? The Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
And I believe so. I believe it's going to
okay,
be held at Levi Stadium. It's going to be at the Apple Music Super Bowl halftime. It's going to be at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. So, California being a high Hispanic populated state, you want to have that kind of Hispanic flair, and there's nothing wrong with that.
eh,
It
yeah.
reflects the culture of the region. He is a Puerto Rican singer and performer, so I understand the need to kind of bring the Hispanic and kind of gel it with American culture in public.
Yeah,
Does that make
yeah.
sense?
No, no,
Because
no. That
he,
that that makes a lot of sense with
yeah,
that. But my
yeah.
thought, that I didn't see it that way until you said that. But
Hmm.
in saying that, I can see if it was in New York, because all the Puerto
Hmm.
Ricans is in New York.
Yeah, I know. There's Puerto Rican. A lot of them are New York. A lot of them stayed on the East Coast,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
um, and the Puerto Rican people are fantastic. The Dominican Republic people are fantastic people, and they are a part of our culture. So I don't see why this is a huge issue. Do we have to have like a country singer?
Well, I
Who?
think that's what the problem is, because the last few shows we've had has been hip hop, right?
Yeah, last year was not great, and it wasn't because of perform. It's just nobody. I didn't really know who he was, and the fan base. I think there was such a disconnect between the older group, and like the only people who really knew I don't even remember who it was. Honestly, I just remember not knowing who he was. That's it.
Right.
But there was kind of a disconnect. But like the year before, was it the year before Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre came out? I was stoked. I thought that
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of you got to pick the people, even though if you want to portray a culture, if you want to portray something like that, like having Bad Bunny, make sure that it's not just for a certain demographic. Because you got demographics ranging from 5 years old up to 85 years old watching the Super Bowl.
You know what I would like to see, as far as the Super Bowl go, is like a medley of like the 80s, the 80s and the 90s,
Area 1.
with no
Yes.
no Mace. Even having like Phil Collins.
Yes, I've
I,
seen
I
them
would I would
live.
love to have Phil Collins. They could have. I mean, I would even go to the point of even saying Sting. I'd like to see Sting do a
Mm-hmm.
concert. You know, if David Bowie was around, I would say David Bowie. You know,
If I would have had to pick any type of kind of Americana type of music for this Super Bowl, the perfect coupling I think would be Bruce Springsteen, Zach Bryan, and Nelly.
that
Because then
that would work.
you have your old rock, you have Springsteen, who does perform with Luke Bryan. My son is obsessed with Springsteen and Luke Bryan. But the great performers, he's been to multiple concerts. I've been to Springsteen. That would be fantastic on top of having someone like Nelly, who is a huge hip hop. He was huge in hip hop in the 2000s. I loved Nelly. He I burned out his CD. My mom loved his music. It was so cute to
Right.
see a 6-year-old woman jamming to Nelly. But kind of having a mix of genre of music and generations of music, I think is important to kind of showcase that at a Super Bowl. And that's kind of like what they did, even though they stayed within a hip hop genre with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. But it was kind of they went through type of generational hip hop, because hip hop has changed so much throughout the years as well. So, but I understand why they picked Bad Bunny. And they may have other performers too. I mean, who knows? Jennifer Lopez may show up. They
Mm,
could, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. They could make it more Hispanic. They could get a couple other performers that are, some hip hop artists, some maybe country. I don't know what their plans are, but they
I'm
could
trying to think of
change,
that.
you
That
know.
that I put it. His name is what's his name? JJ. I know who they can have if they really want someone to perform. There's this guy. What's that guy that he just put out that rap song about hanging black people? JJ Lawson. You haven't
What?
heard of him?
Hang it back, what?
Yeah, you got to look this cat up. His name is I think it's like JJ Lawson or JJ something. JJ Lawson. He did a song with this dude called 40 or 4G Auto something. He's the mega rapper.
Oh.
He's a mega rapper, and he did a song with him. But the guy, I think it's like JJ Lawson or Longhorn or something like that. He did a song. He has a rap song out about hanging people.
Oh. Well, why would he have a song like that? I don't understand. I was looking, I'm
Why?
like,
Because it'll make money. Because stuff like that makes money, and it does.
it's so disgusting, I don't know if, I mean, does black youth, I don't know, do black youth know the gravity of what happened prior to, well, I would say prior to 19,
Oh, that here he is. Here he is. This cat.
no, JJ Longhorn?
Yeah.
I've never heard of him.
You never heard of him? Yeah, he's got a song out about and hanging people.
Oh, well, isn't he a sweetheart? Good gosh.
Yeah. Him and
Oh,
that MAGA rapper. I forgot whatever his name is. I try to think of his name. But
yeah,
yeah,
I think I'm
he's a
looking at
mega
him.
rapper. This guy.
Forgiato Blow.
Yeah, that joke. What's the
Forget.
name of their song? Good versus Evil.
This is what's wrong with society. I.
Hold on
These
one
are the
second. Oh,
problem people. It's these people that cannot. They just feed into it. People don't understand the
let's see.
government is creating this
Can you?
division. that to the point where, because they make money off of this division,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
would really,
That'll make him a lot of money. I mean, only thing you have to do these days is just like the lady here in for calling, who she thought that was a little black kid. She called him a nigger, and they paid her all that money. What's her face down there in Rochester? They paid this woman all this money. There's a white girl that goes on Piers Morgan's show.
yeah,
She's popular because she's on the net on internet saying the N-word. That's the only reason she's popular. But if you go check out, I forgot her name, but she's on Piers Morgan's show a lot. Piers Morgan brings her on and highlights her all the time. But the only reason this girl is popular is because she says the N-word. White woman. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman.
why does she feel the need to say that word?
Because it makes her money.
That is the
It pays. She gets paid for that. I just finished watching. So today was my day that I do my because I've got a lot of time on my hand now. I'm beginning to really research Black history, and one of the people that I was really researching today, because of Barack Obama pissed me off. That coward. He's a coward. Barack Obama, I don't care what there is no black person that can come to me now. Before you come to me, somebody come to me and say something about Barack Obama, I'll eat you up, because that was my hero. I believe he was the black man's hero. Barack Obama is a coward, no end. Flat out, no ifs, ands, or buts. When you sit down and you think about what Barack Obama actually did and helped in what he was actually put into office for, it had nothing to do with us. You look, people are, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, people can say what they want about Trump. But Trump is in office, Trump is actually in office to make white people feel good. You can say what you want. You can act like it. You can say, but that's why Trump in office. Barack Obama broke white America, broke them, and they needed a fix. And Trump was that fix, and he is that fix. But there's no ifs, ands, buts about that. I can say that about Trump, just like I can call Barack Obama a coward. So I'm doing research. Do you know who Jack Johnson is? Have you heard of, you know who Jack Johnson is, right?
I believe so, yeah.
He's a black boxer.
Yeah.
Who they actually, so I've been doing a lot of research, like I said, on Black history. Jack Johnson was one of the people that I did a lot of research on today. And come to find out, Barack Obama had the opportunity to give this man a pardon and completely exonerate him of the lies that the white courts put on him, and Barack Obama turned it down. Completely turned it down. Right? Not only that, but Miss Shakur, the woman who they swear up and down, shot with her hands up in the air with a bullet in her right arm, swears up and down she shot a trooper. He could have, when his second term, he could have brought her home from Canada. That coward wouldn't do it.
Wow.
So two of our, who we look at as revolutionaries, Barack Obama turned his back on him. He's a coward to me. He's a coward.
Gotcha.
Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I knew about Miss Shakur. I knew he didn't pardon her, nor did he do anything. Matter of fact, Barack Obama put her on the most wanted list.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, and this was from back, how long ago was this from?
In the 70s.
Yeah.
And then she broke out of prison, which is a good thing, and she fled to Canada. which she should have. Period. Point blank. Because this government, all of our people that we look up to and we clap our hands to and we give kudos to, they kill.
Mhm.
All of their people, they put on a statue.
Yeah.
And it's funny how that works, right? They put on a statue. She was railroaded. She was done like many other black leaders, black people, visionaries, black people who will go against the system. You know, they loved King somewhat as long as he was going with the system. But when King started talking about the white farmers who were getting the subsidies, who was getting the land, when he started talking about the white farmers that was getting grants, who were getting schooling, free schooling to learn how, and then when King turned around and said, "Let's go, we're coming to Washington to get our check." See, you don't never hear that side of King from nobody. That's when they knew they had to get rid of him, because he was becoming too militant. He was becoming too Malcolm X-y. And I was watching Ants. You ever watch that? You ever seen Ants, the cartoon?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've actually I know some of the people that did voice acting in it.
Oh,
so.
really? Well, you know the part in Ants where they were laughing because they were sitting there going, "This one ant, like, what is this one ant gonna do to us? How is this one ant gonna make a difference?" And the head cricket or whoever he was like, "Really? One ant? Do you know what this one ant can do?" And then he started letting out. He opened this cylinder, and these balls start coming out one at a time, and they're laughing. And he goes, "Well, what about now?" And all of these balls come out. And he's sitting there going, if one ant can build up all of these ants, they outnumber us 500-4. What do you think will happen? Right. That's our government. That's how our government thinks. It's funny how we outnumber the government, but look how our government treats us, and we put up with it.
I know. And that's, I've gotten to the point where it's like, I feel like people just need to start like taking back to their communities and stop waiting for the government to take care of it. Just do it yourself. Band together as communities. Start taking care of your own communities. Get community watch programs going, and I'm even to the point where, hey, if police officers want to come out to these areas and allocate people to have, if they have conceal and carry, if they want to patrol their own neighborhoods with a armed weapon and basically give them kind of deputize them type of thing, I'm even all for that. I'm tired of waiting for the government to constantly fix everything. And I think that's the mindset that this whole country has, is that we're so codependent on the government to do everything for us. And it's like, when you see a problem, instead of just bitching about the problem, figure out a solution. Nobody's talking about solutions here. That was the problem I had with Charlie Kirk, that when he was talking DEI all the time. Well, DEI is not right. And, there are aspects of it that aren't. I mean, it's, I feel that, if I were a black person, knowing that they had a lower standards just to get me hired, that I would find that insulting. It's like, what? It's just because of my skin color, my intelligence level is lower? That's not how it works. But he never explained why DEI had to be implemented in the first place.
No, he couldn't do that because that would throw off his whole
his
whole
narrative.
thing. Nor did he ever say that black women are the most educated women that we have on the face of the earth. He didn't say that either. So I understand what you said, especially when you said he never said why What's
Mhm.
the reason we had to have DEI? You know,
Well, it's
never said
because
that.
yeah, it's like, and that would have been a question I would have asked him if I ever got to debate with him. I'd be like, okay, well, then why did DEI have to be implemented to begin with? Because during the civil rights movement, once the civil rights was enacted, there was nothing saying that, okay, well, these white employers have to give these black people in the community jobs.
That's right.
And and like I said, if you were standing and a guy was standing right next to you that was white, you guys had the same credentials, the same experience, everything on paper was exactly the same, but just looking at you, and if you were trying to get a job in Mississippi in 1969, do you think he's going to give the job to you? No.
I can even tell you that not only he wouldn't get the job, but
Mhm.
if he got the job, he wouldn't be paid fair. You
Exactly.
see, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. My
Mhm.
grandfather marched for the garbage man in the state of Tennessee when he finally got a job, because before he couldn't get a job, right? My
Yeah.
grandfather. So, but when they finally started hiring black men in Memphis, Tennessee, white men made double what they made, right? Back in that. So, because what a lot of people don't know, see, I was born during segregation.
Mhm.
I'm a segregation child. On my birth certificate, I was the last group I was the last group that has Negro on my birth certificate. Says, it doesn't say black, it says
Is Negro.
Negro. It's what it
Yeah.
says on my birth certificate. So when I talk segregation, or when I talk about this stuff, I'm talking about it from an experience, a learned experience of what I'm being told by people who lived it. My uncle, my mom, even my stepdad. Remember, my
Mhm.
stepdad is as white as you are, right?
Mhm.
And he came down to in 1975. He came down to South in Memphis, Tennessee, the
Mhm.
heart of racism, and fell in love with a black woman. That's nuts, right?
Yeah, that is risky.
Right.
Like,
They couldn't. And here's the thing: not only could they not be seen with each other in the white community, they couldn't be seen together in the black community. Oh, my uncles and my grandfather,
they they were not happy.
they were not having it. So you're right when you say that. Why do we have to have affirmative action?
Right. And looking back at the systematic way we went about, some people call it reparations. I don't, because during the civil rights movement, once the civil rights was enacted, there was a part in there that the Great Society where it basically gave low income housing for black people, the projects, as they called them. But they couldn't have, their income couldn't be over a certain amount, or it had to be a one income household. Well, they, being black, they weren't making as much as white people, so they needed to have two incomes together couldn't cover one white person's income.
Right.
So it got to the point where the government's like, well, if you can't have the father in the house or something, because it has to be a one income household to get the free or low income housing, or get the welfare programs that they enacted with rental assistance, daycare, all that kind of stuff. And they basically systematically put black people in another form of slavery, in my opinion. And instead of that, instead of giving them cheap housing, and then of course the drugs just funneled through there like it was nothing, crack cocaine was evident. and everywhere in the projects. The black community was hit so hard with crack cocaine. It destroyed the black community in a lot of places.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know, instead of doing that, what they should have done is paid for education for black people that they didn't get a chance to have because of the color of their skin, because the government didn't do anything about it. That's where I think the investment into giving proper reparations to black people is giving them the life back that they deserve, giving them the education that they deserve being an American and in this country, giving, having them to have the rights that we have as white people. They're all, those are all rights. And, you know, I think the government shorthanded African Americans prior to the civil rights movement because you guys didn't have the, if you did have education, it was very minimal. There was no money going into it. I'm sure there was probably schoolhouses in black communities where the teachers just worked for free because there was nobody to pay them. But they
Yeah.
knew educating the children
Yeah.
was important. But it was like they didn't, the government's like, okay, well, here's your rights, but we're not gonna do anything for you except we'll just like put you in these projects and you low paid income. Of course, when you have poor people, that's when you get crime and that's when you have drugs because people don't have enough to live, so then they got to steal, and it just becomes this progression of a problem that we are now still seeing today, if not worse today than it was. um so it's like those are the things that they should have implemented in DEI. They should have said, okay, ask companies, why aren't you hiring X amount of minorities? And have some transparency. What's the reason why? Well, we're not getting that many applicants coming in that are qualified. Okay, so then what do we need to do to get the minority groups qualified? Do we lower the standards or should we up the education? Because you'd think that this country would want to be the smartest in the world, right? But it's like we're dumbing ourselves down constantly. Whatever happened to ingenuity and, you know, invention and just being thinkers? And I wish that, they would apply that same principle with the minority communities because, it's like they deserve just as much as of a shot. So it's, don't lower the standards to include them. Make sure
Yeah.
that,
No,
get them up
I
to the
understand. I
standard.
understand what you're saying, but our
Yeah.
problem is the
Hmm.
access to wealth, right? So you
Yes.
can give us, it's just like what you said earlier today. I can have the same education standards as this dude, this white dude. But at the end of the day, who's going to hire who? Who owns the
Hmm.
business? Who owns? See, we need access to the wealth where we can own our own business, right?
Yes.
We can own our own homes. We can own our own land. That's how you get wealthy. So if I'm
Right.
wealthy and I don't have to work 3 jobs for my kids, I can set my kids up in a good place to get educated. We can have good schools. And if we're wealthy, we can already have good schools. You don't have to take that money and put it into schools for us. If you give it to us, you let us have businesses in our community. We don't have business in our community. The stores, the buildings, the brick and mortar building itself, we don't own those in our own community. That's the problem. Those are things that we don't own. Those are things we don't have capital to. We don't have the money to make this thing happen. So when you don't have the money, then we can't build our schools up. Our schools
Right.
are not working the way they're supposed to. But if you give us the opportunity to have some wealth, right? To have some
Hmm.
capital, to have the 401k, to be able to play in the stock market and things of that sort. If we had the money to be able to start those things, start our
Right.
own business, to have a plot everybody in the community can have a plot of land. If we could have those, and where did that come from? Let's just go back and say that, when everybody always talk about, well, I didn't do anything, right? This is what anytime people start talking about reparations, first thing white people go, well, I didn't do anything. Well, let's think about this for a second. Because when those GIs, the black GIs that came home and was promised, when they went and fought, because you know how white people always talk about the flag, right? Mm-hmm. So the GIs, the black GIs who went overseas, fought up under the very flag that you love to death. When they came home and they were denied all of the benefits, are you saying those GIs, the families of those GIs, don't deserve reparations or don't deserve something for them not getting the same thing that a white GI came home? He got to go to school. He got land. He got money. He got grants. And he was able to pass that wealth down to his generation.
Right.
So you love your country so much. You love that flag so much. But the very people who fought for that flag, who fought for the country, and even if you came here as an immigrant, and you say, well, I came here for an immigrant. I wasn't around when slavery was. Well, that GI fought for you to have the opportunity to come to this country. So are you saying that GI should have nothing? So I should walk into a store, I buy bread, I leave it, and I can't go back in and get that bread? So we play Monopoly for 400 years. I go around the board for free, but every time you go around the board, you collect at go. Yeah. And you think and people really, it blows my mind that people really think that's fair. That somewhere in these Americas, that these men fought and died for the very country that I hear you always talking about. Oh, but we died for this country. This country, look at, we did this for this country. Forget slavery. I'm not, you know what? I'll wipe that off the board. I'm not even going to talk about slavery. The GIs that fought for this country, that died for this country, you're telling me that their family don't deserve, and they got records now. That's another thing. They got records of the families. They got records of the people who fought in that war. They got records of the people who died in that war. So if we're going to talk reparations, and this is the only time I talk reparations, why can't they be given what they owed?
Yeah, they should be given what they're owed just for being being in the military, serving for this country. I mean, alone.
Exactly.
But yeah, exactly. With reparations, I mean, it's like I feel like the government they kind of hoodwink the whole black community, saying, we'll take care of you. No, you put them in a systematic way of poverty and not give them a chance and an opportunity to have land, to own businesses, to have a good education like every other white American has. Now, granted, I'm not privileged financially being a white person. Not at all. And health-wise, it sucks. I have a lot of health issues. I can't even work, and I'm trying to get disability because of it. And, and the crap that I have to go through, but even going through life, woman as a minority. I've seen where I'm not looked at as just as good as a guy doing the job because I'm a woman. And then so I have to work 10 times harder, 10 times better to show that I can do it, if not better. But I take that as a learning experience, and I take that as kind of a trophy or kind of an award, like, hey, see, I can do it. Nobody can tell me I can't. But it's, I don't know what it's like to have the skin color aspect of it. I know what it's like to be the woman against in a man's world, but I don't know what it's like to be a black person in a white world. So I can't really say to that. I can just talk about being a woman and being a minority. But I'm one thing I've kind of noticed, especially just this last month, since September 10th, and even going prior, it's like for a long time it's like we embraced everybody's diversity for a while, and then everybody wanted to have labels,
Hmm.
and now people don't want labels, but they want to be labeled, but don't tell them that what their label is. It, why can't we just get rid of labels and just look at each other as people? I really feel and I know it's hard for people to really grasp, but it's like we're all here for a reason.
Yep.
Whether, you're not going to agree with everybody, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, why do you want to go to bed with so much hatred and angst in yourself to the point where you can't I go on social media and I can't stand the vile nature that just for people speaking their mind. I mean, this is America. This is if everything that is happening now, and I feel like our own government is literally destroying the Constitution of the United States. It's like, what was the point if it wasn't for people? Now, I'm not agreeing with Charlie Kirk, but one thing I do like about what he did is he spurred discussion. He was doing the right thing by going out to colleges and speaking to youth. He just did not do it well because he was putting it's like you either have to be black or white, red or
Yeah.
blue. It's
Yeah.
like there's granted, he would like open discussion, but when you actually watch the debate, they would ask the question and he took over the whole conversation. It's like you need to sit down and have it a two-way street. Listen to the other side, try and understand why the other side is thinking the way they are, and it should be vice versa. We don't do that anymore in this country, and I feel like there's people like me who I'm more libertarian. I believe in smaller government, and I believe that, communities can take better care of themselves than any other entity there is. But where do I sit in this whole thing? Because I'm a person like I could care less what people want to do with their lives, and I don't think the government should have a say in it either. I mean, but it's like, what do I do? How do I navigate through this weird political climate that we're in? Because I feel like there's no representation for Americans anymore. I feel like they're just all for themselves, whether it comes to local Minnesota government all the way up to the federal level. And I feel like our forefathers would just be rolling their graves. It's like
Yeah.
we fought for our independence, so we didn't have to say "Long live the king" anymore. I, I mean, that's the whole purpose. We separated from a country that literally took over the lives. I mean, they had to pay. That was the whole Boston Tea Party. They were like, "Screw this! We ain't paying King George taxes anymore. This is our money."
I think
But
some people may be just afraid to be free, to really just to be free. And I don't
you
want the
think so?
government. I don't want the government telling me nothing. Just stay out of my way. That's your job. Make sure that we don't have people coming over here trying to kill us. But other
Right.
than that, just stay out of the way. But you kind of hit on a point. When you was talking about Charlie there. Charlie stayed on the surface. Charlie never really got deep.
No.
Just like you were saying with DEI. Sure, he brought up DEI, but he got the people that he needed to believe that black women are the face of DEI, which is a lie. White women are the face of DEI. But here's the thing. You can say and do anything to scare white people, especially when it comes to black people. Charlie Kirk proved that. He proved that back to back to back to back. DEI, he used it. He made sure he painted the black woman, and it scared people, and they ran with that. But the people who, if you look it up right now, and you ask who benefited from DEI the most, who's gonna hurt by them bringing this whole DEI situation to forefront, it's gonna be white women. It's almost it's almost like back in the day when white people didn't want black people in their pool, and the state made them share the pool. So instead of them sharing the pool, what they did is they drained it, filled it with concrete. Same thing with DEI. They needed something to scare white people with, just like CRT. You don't hear anything about CRT anymore, do you? But they ran around here. They scared white people to death with the CRT. Charlie did the same thing with DEI. And who now, white women are not getting these jobs that they were getting before because of DEI. So they shot themselves in the foot because they was being so hateful. I mean, at some point in time, white people got to sit down and go, is this going to benefit me to get all upset and get pissed and get mad? I mean, let me see. I'm going to get mad at Big Bunny, at what's his name? Bad Bunny. I don't even know who he is.
I know, right? And people are like, what?
Half the white people had no clue who he was. But all of a sudden, Fox News, Newsmax, and all these other right-wing places say, no, you got to get mad. Let's boycott them because this guy, who is an American, is going to be singing on your TV, and he's not going to be playing a banjo. So we need to get mad.
Right. Hey, I am so tired of this. That's one thing I cannot stand about the MAGA people. The MAGA party, that's like a whole political party on its own. Because I mean, I've been a registered Republican, but I'm not not this group. No, I've never.
I voted. I mean, dude, I was full gone into the Tea Party. I mean, I was a Tea Partier like you wouldn't believe. Because, I mean, the first time I ever voted was for Ronald Reagan. Mm-hmm. First time I ever voted in my life was for Ronald Reagan. So
I liked Ronald Reagan. He was, he made mistakes, but I don't think it was him. I think it was his administration with the trickle down economics. I think that
Ronald Reagan was a racist as a governor.
I know he was racist.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we, just because he became president doesn't mean he changed. It doesn't mean he changed. Okay, I'm just making sure.
I guarantee you, every president probably, I mean, even Kennedy was racist.
Kennedy was racist. Thank you. Kennedy was racist.
He didn't want anything to do with this. When they were having
Joe Biden was racist.
Oh, yeah, he gave the eulogy at Strom Thurmond's funeral. And if anybody doesn't know who Strom Thurmond was, he's a senator from, Virginia or Tennessee? I can't remember. But he was
Nevada,
one of the
actually.
Was it Strom Thurmond was from Nevada?
Yeah, I think he was from Nevada. I think he was born in Nevada. He was the Grand
Wizard of a KKK group. And Joe Biden gave his eulogy. There you go.
So it's not knows that. It's not as if these people, are all good, but what, like I said, Barack Obama, the reason you see MAGA acting the way Barack Obama broke white America, broke them to the point that the president right now cannot get this man off his head. Everything's Obama's fault. Anytime, the funny part about when I'm online and I see them write stuff going, when do you think America became racist? Or when do you think America changed to be hateful? It's always Obama. Always. It's not
Yeah.
the crack epidemic. No, it's not when Nixon blamed drugs on black people. It's
Yeah.
not when Ronald Reagan said welfare queen was black people. It's not when
Hmm.
George Bush used a black man, Willie Horton, to scare white people into voting. Oh no. That none of that had anything to do. It was when Obama came in office. It's not
Oh, heck no.
when the government literally sold drugs to the black community to fund a war. No.
Hmm.
It was when Obama became president. We became it wasn't when in Forsyth County white people would not Forsyth County, Georgia in 1997 when white people would not let black people move into Forsyth County. No. Oh, I can keep going.
I know, and that's the sad thing because being Barack Obama be the first black president. Why? And then this time, this age of time, why did white people think it was scary that
It wasn't
a black?
supposed to happen. It wasn't.
Well, I was
It wasn't
definitely
supposed to happen
thinking it
on their
was.
watch, Winnie. It wasn't supposed to happen on their watch. Maybe some other
Uh,
watch, but they don't want to have to get to heaven or hell or wherever the hell they're going and have to explain to their forefathers why did you. They got to look their forefathers in the face, and their forefathers are going to say, "Why did you let that Negro in my White House?" They've got to. They've got to answer to that.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, and that's why I've kind of like with everything going on, it's kind of made me reflect and look back. Because I've studied Black history back and forth. I love it. I think it's a very because it's my mom being from North Carolina, I'm having a lot of family in the South. My family did own plantations and slaves. But one thing I'm really proud of my family doing because of the way the nature of my family is. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because we were Methodists, but we my like one of the plantations that I know is like my great grandmother or something. Her name was Elizabeth, and they owned a plantation. And what she did was is that as the slaves would go work the fields, she would gather up all the children and she would teach the kids daily, all the slave children. She would educate them, and then she would make sure that she took good care of her slaves because she knew that they had nowhere else to go. And she would even actually go down when she found out there was actually like families of slaves. She would try and keep the families together by purchasing families of slaves. Like if it was a mother, a father, and a child together, she would try and take all three in, so that way they didn't get separated, because that was just the way things were down there. That's just
Yeah.
how they lived.
Oh
So
yeah.
she knew that it wasn't right, but what is she gonna do? So she would have the slaves come on. They would work the fields. She'd give them decent meals every day. They wouldn't. She would have all the cooks, like all the food she would eat and the family would eat, all the slaves would eat. It wasn't like she was giving her slaves slop food. I mean, and a lot of the slaves ended up staying there once the Emancipation Proclamation happened, is because, and she ended up paying them. She turned it over to a salary wage, and they just lived on her property till they died. And they just worked her fields, and they were just employees of hers. So she found a way to take something that was a dark part of our history and say, okay, this is the way it is, but how can I at least make it better in some way and fashion that I can control and can do actually and make a difference? And so she chose to educate the children, taught the children how to read. And then she would even teach some of the mothers, and when they would have breaks, she was even teaching some of the parents how to read. So that way, at least that generational education could start integrating into the Black families in the Black community. And once they were emancipated, that way it gave them somewhat of a leg up going into society and trying to get educations, jobs, and things. And that's what sucks about the whole, where I think reparations are needed, is that was the moment when the government should have stepped in and said, okay, you were wronged, you are now free, here's a leg up because you were brought here not at your own will. It's not like
Yeah.
they
Good.
they
Got a
came
point?
here, so it's like we brought you here, and they're like, well, it's black people that sold their own people. Well, yeah, but they sold them because there was a need for it, and we created that need, saying, yeah, we can get free labor from slaves. So that's why they started selling slaves, because there was a need for it. Building all new. I mean, America was built on the back of slaves and like people indentured servitudes. I mean, even look at post Civil War and the railroad. How all the different races were treated horribly. The Chinese, they were considered just mice among men, that they were just, oh, if a couple Chinamen died in an explosion, oh well, it
Yeah, yeah.
was like
No
nothing.
big deal.
Same with, same with black people. And it was hard for black people because they were working right alongside white people on that railroad. Yet the white people were, a lot of them were former Confederate soldiers, because they needed something to do post the war. And so you had black men literally working right next to men who wanted them dead.
Yeah.
So
Right?
it
Think
was a
about that
lot of.
for a second.
Can you imagine? Like, oh, and you're sitting there wielding like hammers and picks. So it's like, can you imagine having to live in a situation like that? But that is where I think reparations were needed, was to give the black community a leg up, since everything was taken from it. But then you come today, where you have you have these people who are like, oh, we're owed this, we're owed that, they're not owed this, and then America's like, well, this is our country, and blah blah blah, and it's like they're trying to paint America white. Well, tell that to the Native Americans, because they were here way before we ever got here, and we just took their land for no reason. So it's like, whose country really is it? I think it's kind of just, I think we need to start looking at it as our country, instead of just separating everybody. Because I think that's what's happening. Everybody's looking, oh, you're a black guy. Oh, you're a white woman. Oh, you're Hispanic. Oh, you're this. You're a trans. It's like, just stop. Just stop. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
just
We
look at each
gotta
other like people.
I'm I know, and I agree with you. And we really gotta ramp it down, the rhetoric, where we want to say, well, trans this and trans that and all this here type
Hmm.
of stuff. Look,
Yeah.
I don't. One of the things that I don't do is I don't beat anybody over the head with the Bible. Number one,
hmm
I see it this way: the way you live your life here, that's on you, right?
hmm
Because there's nothing I can do to get you into heaven. You have to do that. If you come to
Right.
me and you say, Rev, what scripture should I be reading? I can do that all day. I can give you scripture that you should read, that you should look into, you should study, you should put that scripture towards your life, and maybe that'll get you into heaven. But I'm at a point now where I'm like, you feel like cutting something off, that's on you. That ain't got nothing to do
Yeah.
with me at this point. And I'm not
Right.
going to judge you, and I'm not going to say anything bad about you. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon calling you names or saying this. But one of the things that I will make sure I do is to make sure that a guy who cuts that off, or cut something off, or add something, we're going to make sure that which I'm glad we kind of get into this here a little bit, that Trump actually have said something about the violation in Minnesota sports.
hmm
When that little boy, let's call him what he is, played on the softball team.
hmm
Trump said that was a violation in Minnesota sports, and I am 110% behind him on that.
Okay.
I don't think that's a hot topic for anybody to be saying some of the things that they said about this little boy, which was very nasty, and that's so I'm kind of putting two things into one. The nastiness that we have going on here in America now, and protecting women in sports.
And how old was this boy?
He was in a high school. He's in a high school.
Okay.
Yeah, it was high
Okay.
school softball team. He was on. He struck out like all of the girls.
Oh, he did. Oh, he was
Yeah.
a pitcher.
Yeah, exactly.
This is putting in a ringer. We've seen these movies.
Yeah,
He's
right?
just sandbagging. They're dressing up. What was that movie, Ladybug, with Rodney Dangerfield, where he dressed up his stepson
Yeah.
as a girl because he needed a good player on the team?
Yeah.
I mean, look, when it comes to sports, I do agree that whether you're chop things off or not, there is a difference biologically when it comes to men and women. Now, when men do get things chopped off and their testicles removed, they do start softening up and they do start losing that muscle tone because they're losing testosterone. But if the person, they or them, if that's what they go by, still has their body parts to determine whether they're boy or girl, they have to abide by the biological requirements when it comes to boys and girls sports. Now, if the community wants to come together and have a co-ed type of teams, then do that. But you can't. One thing that people don't understand, yes, trans people have the right to live their life and play sports,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but you can't take somebody else's right to knock out somebody else's. You can't take somebody else's right to knock out somebody else's right to grant them their right, because then that's not a right, that's a privilege.
Right.
So it's like, I can't, if I were to say, well, I want to go into this hotel, but it's all white people, but the one time we want to make an exception is the one black person. But so it's like, you have to like say, okay, well then just build a hotel with that can have both black and white people in it. What if you want your separate ones, fine, but then build something where that's solving problems. Like this whole trans bathroom issue, I'm sorry, but if I was a 10-year-old girl in school and a 13-year-old transgender boy came in the bathroom, that would make me feel uncomfortable. Not
Yeah.
because it's just because
No.
they're young. They're still trying to understand their own bodies. I mean, I was mortified when I was 4 years old when I had the chicken pox and Santa Claus saw me naked in the bathtub. I was mortified. Santa Claus came in to give me my present. I was sitting in an oatmeal bath because I had the chicken pox so bad.
Right.
So I was mortified. Santa saw me naked. And I was only 4 years old. So I get that especially for girls. Guys probably don't, not so much, but for
No.
girls, we're a little bit more discreet. Like, I didn't even like showering or anything in gym class with my girl students. I was uncomfortable being naked around them. So it's not necessarily a boy and girl thing. It's just kind of being uncomfortable in general when you're young, because you're immature. You don't understand a lot of things, whether you know of it, but you don't really understand it. It's so it's like you can't sit there and force people to be uncomfortable to make this person happy. That's not rights. That's privileges. So instead of forcing a group, and then of course when you force somebody to do something, they're not going to like the reason why.
There
So
you
then
go.
they're going to start, the rhetoric is going to start drumming back onto the transgender group. So it's like, okay, you have a group of people that need a bathroom, build them a bathroom. It's that simple. I don't understand why there has to be an argument about everything now.
Well,
It's like,
I like those bathrooms where either because in my church we do have one designated bathroom where anybody could use it.
Yeah, it's like a family bathroom.
Yeah, it's
They're
like a
little bit
family,
big.
family bathroom. But we know that if the door is closed and you see a female walking in there, as a male, you know not to go in that bathroom.
Right, and it's usually
You
just one
understand what I'm saying?
toilet. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't understand. It's like you need a bathroom that says, just use that bathroom.
just use that exactly.
I don't
I mean,
get
so
it.
so we should have. I think if a guy who is transitioning don't
Mhm.
feel comfortable in going in the men's bathroom, okay, I get it.
Mhm.
We should have those bathrooms where it's got, one man on this side, a woman on this side, a family bathroom. Go use the
Right.
family bathroom. There should be those all around.
Right. And that's an easy solution. Easy solution.
Yeah.
And you could even put a couple stalls in there so it doesn't have to be just one single toilet. But, I mean that is that's a solution, but you don't hear the talking heads. You don't hear the politicians saying this. All they're doing is complaining and arguing about, well, we deserve bathrooms. Well, we deserve not to have you in our bathrooms. Okay, we know this. We've known this for how long? Come up with
Yeah.
a solution, please.
Yeah.
I That's what's so frustrating about government with today. And then like this whole Charlie Kirk has brought bubble. This is what happens. This is what happens when people do not discuss with each other, and that is something Charlie Kirk did say that I agree with him 100%. Is that this does spur when you have discussion, especially when you're on opposing sides. That's when you have constructive discussions, not just debates in one way. When you have constructive discussions, that's when you get closer and closer to solutions and start, okay, well, we have these differences, but okay, well, what do we have in common and how can we come to that agreement so we can come up with a solution or so we can go forward? None of
Hmm.
them do that. And
Right.
that's very frustrating. And that's what a politician is supposed to do.
Well,
It's their job.
yep. I know. I'm with you. I agree with his mindset of saying, let's open this up for discussion, and we should.
Hmm.
What I don't agree with him is he worried more about me and my skin
Yeah.
tone than
Hmm.
he did about the little little white kids who are on drugs, about the
Yep.
pedophilia that's going on through the white community,
Oh
about the
God.
suicide that's going through the white community,
Hmm.
about the white liberals who are basically turning over millions of dollars to another group of people and getting kickbacks. Charlie Kirk never addressed the problems in the white community as if the white community don't have problems. Right now, we have a rash of white men right now going out and literally shooting. But y'all want to call it mental health. You don't want to call it what it is. White man shot Charlie Kirk. A white man ran a truck into a church, got out, and started shooting kids. A white man shot 5 cops. 3 of them died. That is the truth. Bottom line, we can sit here and say Christian this. We can sit here and say mental health this. We can sit here and say he had problems this and that. The bottom line comes down to it. Instead of Charlie Kirk dogging and pissing on the black community, he should have been out here raising what I just said and helping the white community do better. He could have been in
Yeah.
Appalachian, Virginia right now, where they're poor as all get up. He could have been down in Mississippi raising money for the poor white people there. He could have been in Minnesota, Minneapolis, where we get people coming from Buffalo, coming from Elk River, coming from St. Michael, coming from all over the state of Minnesota because these white people have a drug habit. So they go downtown Minneapolis, move into some of these here homeless camps and do their drugs. He could have easily said that, you know what? I want to look into how these 16, 17, 18-year-old black boys are making all of this money to buy guns to shoot each other. When white people come from the suburbs, buy these guns, give these kids these buy these drugs to give If Charlie really wanted to talk about the black community, he could have said that. He could have talked about the white people who come into the community. He could have talked about the white men who sell the guns to the black kids in the community. He didn't do that. So if he really, really cared about black community, there's a lot of things Charlie could have said. If he really cared about wanting to debate and help, Charlie could have worried about his own community, because it was his own community that shot and killed him.
Right.
I'm just saying.
And it's just like, just a couple days prior to him getting assassinated, he was online talking about the whole Irina, can't think of her last name for the life of me. I know it on the tip of my tongue, but she, what he said was, supposedly when the cops arrived, when they apprehended him, the suspect, they asked him what happened. He said, I stabbed that white girl over there. Now, was he using white girl as a descriptor, saying, hey, like, oh, it's that black guy over there, or it's that white girl over there? Or was he being like, oh, that white girl over there? But Charlie publicly came out and said that.
Yeah.
That he was this was a hate crime, that it was black on white crime.
Yeah.
When in fact the gentleman that stabbed her was schizophrenic. He was not medicated properly. He even told the police officers the reason why he stabbed her, because he thought that she was able to read his mind, and that she was gonna, he was very schizophrenic, like he thought the government was reading his mind, that he had implanted chips. This guy was Looney Tunes, and he shouldn't have been out on the streets. He should have been in prison. Even his own mother said he should have been locked up and never let out. He physically attacked his own sister. And so it's like, but when you have people coming out publicly saying, oh, this was a black on a white crime, it's racist crime, when in fact it probably isn't, that spurs all that hatred and all. Why is it, white people are getting attacked now? And no, that's not what it's like. They took a molehill, made a mountain out of it when it didn't need to be. Now, granted, it was awful. And what's the saddest part of the whole video is seeing everybody stand around her while she's laying on the ground bleeding out and nobody's helping her.
Yeah, that was bad.
Scary. That 90 seconds. Bad. She was laying there bleeding out. People from the front of the train came back to help her because they saw blood dripping down the whole aisle of the train. That's why they're like, and they saw him, he like literally walked off the train, and he was caught by police, thank goodness.
We gotta do better when it comes to helping our fellow citizen. But I go back to what you just said about this young man. And I go back to this here again. When you're a black kid growing up in the hood and you hear gunshots every single day, that is traumatizing. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing in our community to help these kids that are being traumatized by gunshots. When you have to sleep on the floor, that is traumatizing. When you're playing in the backyard and you have to lay down in the grass until the gunfire stops, that is traumatizing. When you're walking home from school and all of a sudden you hear cars coming around the corner, just cars coming around the corner, and they're screeching out, and you hear them driving up and down the street real fast, that's traumatizing because you know something is about to go down somewhere. Yeah. We don't have anything in the community to work with those kids. You understand what I'm saying? So these kids are growing up, like I said, traumatized now. They're growing up going, what the hell? What's going on? I can't concentrate. I can't do work right. I can't do a lot of things. It's just not working for me. Now you got mom and dad who are not making all that much, right? Both of them have to work. Mom and dad are not at home. Not at home when they get home. So what do I do? I walk around, I do this here, I go hang out with friends, and most of my friends have the same situation. People don't realize how bad that plays on a lot of kids, especially now that all these white men are running around shooting up everybody, and now we want to talk about mental health. You know, when we see mental health in the black community with these kids all the time, and nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to discuss it then. But now, when they need an excuse for why these white men are running around here shooting, I mean, I'll go back to 1906, Wilmington, North Carolina, when they basically chased black people out of Wilmington, North Carolina. 10,000 white people beat and shot and killed black people.
Because they wanted that area.
So when we start talking about violence and violent people, I can look. What year do you want to start?
Well,
I'm just saying. I mean, when they always talk about, the 10%, what is it? 13%. Well, we when it comes to violence, we learn from the best. We learn from the best. Let's talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's talk about the lie that was told right here in the state of Minnesota in Duluth, where they hung black men because a white woman told a lie in the mob. You know what I mean? And then white people go, well, we don't understand why the police and black people can't get along. Answer me this question. How is it that when black men are locked up in a jail cell, how is it that the angry white mob can go to City Hall, go to the jail cell where there are police, pull that black man out of jail, where the police is supposed to be protecting him, drag him down the street and hang him, and the police has done nothing? There's never been a time that the police department has protected black people. When black people are marching for rights just to sit down at a counter for a burger, and the police come in with their dogs and sick their dogs on them, there's never been a time that police are protecting black people. When Rodney King was on the ground and them police beat Rodney King to a pulp, when white people was telling us there's no police brutality, you got it on film, you got it on tape, and they turned around and said he should have complied.
Yeah.
Right? I'm pointing out the obvious. I'm pointing out the obvious.
And that reminds me, because I'm hoping to get this author on soon, because one of the stories that I have been wanting to cover for a very long time, that I've done lots of research on, is the story of Emmett Till. And if anybody does not know who Emmett Till is, shame on you. Go look it up right now. But Emmett Till, I think, was a clear example of the police not protecting and doing what's right for a family. Now, if nobody knows who Emmett Till is, Emmett Till was, I think he was 13 or 14 at the time. He lived up in Chicago, but his mom was from Mississippi, and her brother still lived down there. So that one summer, he wanted to go stay with his uncle in Mississippi and see his cousins. So his mom was reluctant, and I get it, going down, being black in 1965 or whatever year it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. I do so much research, years and numbers blend, but At one point they went to like a little convenience store type thing where a white woman was behind the counter, and he just said something nice to her as being polite, saying, "Oh, you look very nice today." And apparently that was a big no-no that a black person say that to a white woman.
They
Very
said he
disrespectful.
whistled at her.
Yeah, and that's what happened. She lied.
Right.
She said that he was hitting on her,
Right.
making advances towards her, and basically what happened is these guys went and ripped him out of his uncle's home, beat him so bad to the point where he didn't even look human anymore.
Now I want you.
They,
Well, hold on for a second.
yeah,
Go back, because a lot of people always miss the part what you just said. He
okay.
is in. He is in home. He is in his house, in a home,
Mhm.
protected. White men were like, "We don't care. We're gonna go
They
get him."
walked
They
they
walked
walked right in there.
right into the house and grabbed a 13-year-old boy. Think about that for a second.
Yep. And they could do
13-year-old
nothing.
boy.
They threatened the uncle. They said, if you do anything and try, we're taking him, and if you try and stop us, we'll kill you and your whole family. So
Yep.
he's at this quandary where, do I save my nephew or do I risk having my whole family
Whole
killed?
family.
And he was just telling Emmett, it's okay, just do what they say, just don't say anything rash, but they beat Emmett so bad, and they shot him too. But when they found Emmett's body, he had been put in like a creek or like a riverbed area, so he was in
They
the
put
water for.
they put a fan around his neck.
Yeah, the way they treated his body, and it was so humiliating. It was to degrade him as a human, pretty much. And when obviously Emmett's mom found out about it, sh I the courage that mother had, I don't know if I could have that, because when she got down there and saw her son, because they were trying to say it wasn't Emmett. That's not him. It's not, the white people were trying to say, "Oh, no, 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 it's not Emmett. It's some local boy." Because, having Chicago come after the South, having bigwigs from Chicago, the Yankees up north,
Yeah, yeah.
they didn't want to have to deal with that. But it was important for her. She said she wanted an open casket. She brought the newspaper guy into the morgue to take pictures of his body, because she wanted the world to see what they did to her boy. And that was very important for her. And I think that really impacted, because the white folks up north had no clue what was going on down south. They weren't seeing all we were seeing. We would see news stories. Oh, the black communities are trying to cause a ruckus in such and such place because they want to eat at this restaurant, and there's been a standoff and riots going. That's pretty much all the north heard about it. They never saw the gravity of what racism was doing to black folks in the South.
No,
Lynching.
they had,
I mean,
especially up north. You know, they
yeah.
had no color. And the other part of that story that you was telling, Carolyn Bryant is a white woman that lied on this here young boy. She got
Hmm.
to live her life out and died free. Let me
Hmm.
say that again. She got to live her life out. She died free. Miss Shakur, who they lied and said she shot, had to go to Cuba in order to live for free. That just
Yeah.
goes to show you how our government works when it comes to black people and white people.
Yeah. And I believe eventually down the road, she admitted that it wasn't
She,
true, but she didn't regret it one
she
bit.
did. She admitted that she
Yep.
lied, and at
Yep.
that point in time, there was nothing anybody could do, and there was nothing that the government wanted to do. They didn't want to put
Right.
her in jail. They didn't want to. They didn't want to do what was right for what she did, because so many white women before her had did that. Like I said, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Redwood, Florida, North Carolina, Louisiana, white women, Minnesota, white women lying on black men, and
That's-
white men being as violent as they are. People got mad at Don Lemon, right? They was mad at Don Lemon this week because of what Don Lemon said. I look at him and say, show me where he told a lie. At what date do you want me to start? And we talk about how violent this country has been. Should we talk about when you first got here? Should we talk about the Trail of Tears? Should we talk about the Dakota situation? And when do you want to start? Should we talk about James Byrd, where the two men took this black man, chained him up behind their car? This is in 1996. They chained him up behind that car, put chains on this man, and drug him down the street until there was nothing left of him but flesh on the street. When do you want to start talking about violent?
I know. And it's and what's scary is to know that people of being white, knowing that some of them are walking around knowing they have that power, is really scary to me.
But at some point in time, we've got to be honest. I mean, I can be honest and say there's black kids shooting black kids in the black community, and we have to do something about it. I can be honest and say there's black kids, black men selling drugs in the black community. We need to do something about it. I can be honest and sit here and say that we have a problem with there are some black men that are not taking care of their kids in the black community, and we have to do something about it. There are women who are having kids in the black community, right, that's on welfare. I can sit here and be honest. When are y'all going to get honest about these white men that are doing the things that they're doing right now? There are white men that shot up that school right there in South Minneapolis. A white man did that.
Yep.
But no,
black people.
He's mentally ill. Oh, no. Well, we don't know if he's a right winger or a left winger. I don't give a flying jack what winger he is. He's a violent white man that went up there and he shot those babies. That's what happened. That's the facts. Get mad at me if you want, but prove me wrong. Prove me wrong in anything I just said. Period, point blank.
And I don't know if it's like an entitlement mentality or what, but it's like, I don't understand why culturally we feel like we're constantly being taken over by other races. We're all human. We're all part of the human race, people. We don't want to eradicate the white race. Well,
nobody's eradicating the white race. I don't know where that keeps coming from.
I don't know.
This is what I say. Make me understand. No, seriously. Make me understand that. Where there's enough white people that's going to be around for a long time. So
I know.
When I hear that, I go, please make me understand that. What are you talking about? That the white race is being eradicated or disappear. Where?
I don't know, because being in Minnesota, there is plenty of pasty people walking around here.
Thank you.
I'm very pasty.
But
my
in-laws are just as pasty.
Well, we're in the house 7 months out of the year. So, but you know what I mean? I that's kind of shocking. You would think being stuck in the house 7 months out of the year that black people start letting know because they're not getting sun as much.
See? No, we don't. We're good.
But that is part of, people don't understand the reason why we look different. Our skin colors are different. It has nothing to do with us being different things. It's just our location. But God was not dumb enough to put people like me in Africa. I was born to a You know what I mean? That's the
No.
whole reason why we look different. It's
Well,
science.
now
It's
they
logic.
do they got some white South Africans who moved down there, you
From
know.
Great Britain. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They're British. They're not South Africans, they're British. And like the whole island of Australia, that's all the castaways from Great Britain that were prisoners. That was the prison
Oh
island,
yeah.
and now it's Australia. So, but you don't see them killing each other. There's hardly any violence in Australia. They got it
well,
going right.
well, speaking of killing each other, as far as I was just talking about the situation with the guns. Um, your your mindset on the Democrats. You heard what they want to do, right? They want to call a special
Yeah,
session.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. For this gun, they want to add all these like gun control laws. So you were talking about like in eliminating clips and multi-round magazines. That is kind of a double-edged sword for me because I do believe in the right to bear arms.
right?
That was something that, and the reason why it's not because, oh, everybody has a right to protect themselves and have a gun and shoot somebody whoever threatens that. It's the point that in Great Britain, even to this day, they don't have guns over there. And they still have violence. They have more knife fights than anything. Knife violence because that's the only weapon they can use or machetes. But um, the whole reason for us to have the right to bear arms was because back then, when the Constitution was enacted, um, governments were the only ones that could bear arms. And governments back then were, it was oligarchies and monarchies. Everybody, there was one head of state and controlled everything. And the people just had to do what they had to do. Taxes went up, they just had to shut up and pay the taxes,
Yeah.
whether they could eat or not, they had to pay that toll. So that was very important, I think, when we signed the Declaration of Independence and created the Constitution, that we were really trying to establish ourselves as a whole new country and not a spinoff of Great Britain, to know that we can take care of ourselves, that we don't need a monarchy to rule our nation, that we can build our own government and for the people by the people. That's basically what it was meant for, and having that right. But when it comes to like assault rifles, I don't. When it's like, well, they're hunting rifles. I don't know why you would need an AK-47 to hunt down a deer. I do just as good with my dad's. Uh, I have a Winchester, the 18. Was it the 1860 65 model? The one that it was the one that won the West. It's a beautiful Winchester rifle, but I could take a deer down with that any day. I don't need an assault rifle to do that. So I can see them wanting to put limitations, and I understand why they want to put limitations because obviously these deadly weapons are getting in the hands of people that shouldn't have them.
Well,
How they are, I don't know.
you said a word that will make the hair on the back of a gun owner stand up when you said assault. When you said
Assault rifle?
that one, when you
Yeah.
said assault rifle, and they're going to
hmm
ask you what is an assault rifle. What do you mean by an assault rifle?
Well, when you can pump out 60 rounds in under a minute,
Right.
you're not killing deer with it. You're trying to mow down some stuff. So I don't think, I mean, what else would you need it for?
Well,
Eh,
I've got one,
mhm,
and I use it when I go out to the range, and I'm shooting long range. I'm
mhm.
shooting something at 2 football fields away.
Yeah,
That's if somebody do come and try to mess with me, that's where I want to hit them. two
yeah,
football fields away. I don't want them as
yeah,
close to where I got to use my 9 or my 40 or my 45. I don't really
yeah,
want them that close. If I can hit them at 2 football fields. But no, I have mine because I do shoot 3 gun. I shoot IDPA. I understand what you're saying. Should that
Yeah.
should that gun be walking up and down the street? Here's the funny part about that, though, Winnie. Um,
Mhm.
when the riots happened, you know, 1 minute they telling me they don't want my black gun anywhere near the streets,
Mhm.
but when the riots happened, they called me and my black gun to come down there and protect the streets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Oh, now I was like, hello? Oh, now you want me to come down there. But before you was telling me there's no reason for me to have this firearm. But now
Yeah.
you want me to come down there. So, but no, you know what? I get it. I understand, especially in our community, because nobody in our community has any type of training at all. So when they are firing these guns, especially the ones that have the get-ups on the back of them, those rounds are going anywhere. And 99.9% of the time, those rounds are going into someone's home.
Yeah.
And they're killing and shooting and hurting kids. So if I had to give up my AR-15, if they want to buy it, I can do that because, like I said, I've got handguns. I've got a Winchester too. That, you know, if I want to shoot long range, I can shoot long range with it. Do I go out hunting and think I need 15 rounds in a mag? I don't. I mean, be honest with you, I do. I'm just not that type. Now, there's some guys out there that, you know, if they could put a barrel on the end of theirs, okay. But I'm just not that type. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not that type.
Yeah. But then there are, you know, and that's like excuse whenever there's that gun control talk of taking away the rifles, the high powered rifles. You're like, well, I have a right to hunt. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
don't even. That's like their go to thing. We know you're not hunting with these. If you're hunting with these things, you're not going to have any meat left. You're going to wipe out the whole deer. You know, you're going to have basically chopped venison stew already made for you. But you know, it's just like you guys, if you want to have a right to bear arms and to have protection, that's fine, but there has to be some type of limitation or reasoning with it too, because these are deadly weapons that are getting in the hands of people that should not have them. So what restrictions can we put, what kind of regulations can we put on these more high powered assault rifles, so that way people like you who are responsible and own them, that you're not going to go shoot up a movie theater with one.
Right.
There's really no safe way to really deem it, because the only other aspect to play a part is mental health. Okay, well, do you need to get a mental health evaluation before you even purchase this gun? But then that even adds more impact of government into healthcare. And what happens if the government deems you crazy? Then what? If the
Well,
government thinks you're crazy.
that's what when we talked about earlier, the red flag law, right? Which I think it that red flag law would be hurting a lot of people, because to me that red flag law can take us all the way back to somebody can tell a lie on you, right? I could be the thing that scares me a lot of times is if I'm in like a restaurant and I'm printing. You know what printing mean, right? Like somebody can actually see the butt of my gun or something like that. And it scares somebody in Maple Grove. So my wife and I are in Punch Pizza. Or if I'm sitting down and I don't realize that my shirt is still covering my firearm, and some white person sees it and calls the cops, and all of a sudden I go walking outside and Maple Grove police is there, you know, with their guns on me and things of that sort. That's what scares me.
Yeah.
Or if someone sits there and go, well, there's a black guy that's got my neighbor, you know, got guns and all this here type of stuff. That red flag law, I think, will hurt more than it's going to do something that's going to help. Because nobody really uses it. There's a 72-hour hole right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really uses the laws that's on the, and that's what pisses me off. We want to make new laws, but nobody uses the laws that are on the books, Winnie, right?
Yeah.
And even you said it earlier when you're like, you know, in the black community, you can't use those laws because you get shot, you get got, right?
Yeah.
You understand what? So you can't use those laws. Any of those laws that the white liberals told the white Democrats that they needed to pass last year, none of those bills can be used in the black community. And that's what really gets me upset about the gun group world. They're not speaking out and saying, hey, what can we do to help the black deaths in the black community? Because we know that these guns are being sold because black people ain't going out buying these guns, right? Bottom line. So where is, you know, the Minnesota gun groups who can speak up and speak out for the, like I said, even for the trauma? I mean, only thing they do is they just sit back and go, no, we're not, no one's taking our guns and we're not this and we're not that. They're never proactive when it comes to this.
Right.
So
yeah, it's like give proper gun safety classes to these neighborhoods that are getting run over with drug lords. And because all these guys that are coming up and shooting up North Minneapolis, probably half of them aren't even originally from there, and they're getting their drugs and their guns illegally. They're not purchasing them at their local gun shop or a pawn shop and filling out the form.
That's
They're
right.
just not doing it. So it's like basically it's like where the regulations need to be is keeping these guns within a retail and wholesale setting and not letting them get on a black market and get sold underground illegally to people. That's the crux of the issue. How are these guns getting out? Where are they coming from illegally, and how are they getting into the neighborhoods? Don't take my gun away, because my gun is sitting safe and sound up in a safe where it's supposed to be put away, and I haven't touched it in years. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't punish the people that are following the rules. Punish those who are not, and cut the supply off. Cut the chicken's head off at the neck.
Yeah.
It's gonna run around a little bit, but eventually it'll flop over.
It'll flop.
And then you have a delicious dinner.
Because there's places in Minneapolis and St. Paul, I'm not walking around without my firearm. It's just not going to happen because I know they have something. So I'm never gonna be put in that situation at all again. And if you can't regulate or tap down these people who are getting these guns, these people who are shooting up the neighborhood, then don't come after me. And they're not. You know, they're not coming after the thugs who are shooting up the neighborhood. They're coming after the white guy who is shooting up the schools. That's who they're going after. That's who they're talking about. That's who they want to deal with. When you say we don't want these assault rifles on the streets, they're not on the streets. They're in the schools. They're not on the streets. They're using switches in the black community. They put a switch on the back of a Glock. That's what they're using. They're not using an AK-47, an AR-15. That is used when a white man walks into the school and shoot up babies. So
and I think, and I hate to make the tie, but it's very video game like. I mean, and I'm not saying video game causes violence, but I think I think with social media and the dehumanizing of each other, how we look at each other, that I really feel there's just a disconnection with humanity as we know it. And we don't look at each other as human beings anymore. We look at each other as avatars, as things that could just be disposable with no repercussion. Because you don't get repercussions in video games. Oh no, your lives get revived. I mean, kids today with video games, no wonder they act the way they do. I mean, when I had to play video
Right?
games, if I wanted to beat the game, I had to like dedicate a whole day to it because we couldn't save our games, and it was like Mario. I was turtle tipping. I wasn't shooting up other. I was like Call of Duty. I've
Right.
seen my sons play that game. I'm like, holy crap, this is like real stuff. This is insane.
It's crazy, right?
You know? Yeah, but then again, it's the age of technology, and to the point where military wise, this is what it's already turning this way. Our bomber pilots are literally drone pilots. They sit at a computer and fly a
Yeah.
drone and drop bombs. They're not even
Yeah.
in the planes anymore.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get it why kids are so, the way of technology, but it's like, okay, where can we put some more humanity in that so people aren't disassociating themselves as humans anymore and looking at each other as avatars and not having empathy for others and say you're actually taking a human life, you're ripping away something from a family, you're taking a person's life and completely destroying an entire family because you had an issue. And that's where we need to draw the line and figure out where can we cut that off
Yeah.
before it
Yeah.
gets to the point where he's shooting up a school. It's just awful. And
You
it's
got
just continuously to go out of control.
you got a point. And my
Mhm.
last thing that I got down here on my book,
Mhm.
real quick, 'cause we've been at this for 2 hours. I didn't even realize we've been at this for about 2 hours.
I like having good discussions though. This
Right?
is what we need.
So
I love it.
have you well, apparently another thing Trump is come to his attention here in Minnesota is the fraud that we've
Yeah.
had.
Well, there's fraud everywhere.
Not only the fraud, but I read somewhere where he's saying that he's blaming Ilhan for the fraud in Minnesota, and he's saying that's the way he can get rid of her.
Oh, no, if you want to get rid of the fraud, Minnesota, you're just going to have to completely take everyone out of the Capitol building, out of the
Thank
governor's
you.
mansion, and start over.
Thank you.
It's not just one person.
Thank you.
Oh, good Lord, Trump. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. This is Minnesota. We know it better than you. Come on. There's so much corruption all the way from city councils all the way up to the school boards, the governor's mansion. I mean, Minnesota is so just when it comes to fraud and money and pissing away money and not appropriating money properly. And yeah, it's not just her.
Dang.
So, oh
I,
God.
I said the same thing, but the funny part about it is, and it's not just the Somalians. They're the one that's going to be going to jail, but they didn't write the check. It's not. It's like I was talking to somebody the other day. I said it's not as if these people got off the boat, walked into a bank, and stole all this money.
No.
Did not happen that way.
I
Did not
guarantee
happen.
Minnesota was sending letters over to Somalia saying, hey, come here. We'll give you free everything. And
Thank
that's
you.
why they all came here. It's the same reason why we've had an influx of people from Chicago come up to Minneapolis, Minnesota.
There we go.
The welfare programs that we have in the state. Same with the Hmong community. Although, with the Hmong community, they did a lot of taking that money, investing it in
They did.
businesses.
They did.
The Hmong community has flourished. They have like whole sections of grocery stores and clothing stores that they sell within their community.
They got their own mall.
Do they have their own mall?
Yeah,
now?
over in St. Paul. They got their own mall. I've been there a couple times.
Oh, wow. That's
yeah.
awesome. See, those are the opportunities you like to see.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a payoff. We invest in you to come here. Now you pay us back with being successful and being productive citizens.
Well, same thing with the Somalis got their own mall too.
Mm-hmm.
They got their own shopping center, and they've got their own get up also. But they were given that, right? but they have not invested back into the community other than going and buying land like way out in Lakeville and in the Grove Heights, and basically buying. Funny thing today, because what cracks me up, what cracks me up a lot of times is especially the people who lives out in Rocks and Cows, like somebody live out in Buffalo that don't know jack about the city, but yet love to run off at the mouth all the time about the city and gets it wrong all the time. Yeah. So apparently they just found out about West Alapolis. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Oh, yeah. So St. Louis Park, Golden Valley, they call that West Minneapolis.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they got a website and everything. Look it up. Got a website and everything. It's West OLOPIS. It's called West Annapolis.
Weird.
They have that. You ain't never. I'm shocked. I'm shocked of everybody. You have never heard of that. But St. Louis Park. Look it up. St. Louis Park.
Okay.
And Golden Valley calls themselves West Minneapolis.
Oh, I did not.
So they put out a video saying, come to West Minneapolis. We got theaters, we got this and this and this. And it's funny to me because apparently this is the first time these right-wingers ever heard of this. And they're looking for, because, I don't know what Republicans are mad about, but they're always mad about something here lately, right?
They're mad about this?
Yeah. So they put this out there so they can get all, flustered about it. But I told them years ago how this was going to happen. Once they start moving these people out into urban areas, not urban, but into the suburbs, they're going to take over. And they're doing this. Watch this here. The next place that's going to fall, it's either going to be Robbinsdale or Bloomington. One or the other. Watch. Robbinsdale or Bloomington is going to be the next ones that's going to fall. I've got a feeling it's going to be Robbinsdale because Robbinsdale is right there next to Golden Valley and right next to St. Louis Park. So that whole area down there would turn into West Minneapolis.
Wow. I looked it up. I didn't know they consider that. They have a downtown West Minneapolis.
Yeah. See? Told you.
Westoapolis or Westoapolis. I just called it west of the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
But we were known as calling it, but
they've got a website for it. That's what we call it. We don't call it St. Louis Park anymore. We don't call it, Golden Valley. We go, wow, that's West Minneapolis.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I've never heard that term for that area. I just call it west side of the Twin Cities, St. Louis Park, Minnetonka, Wayzata, all those areas over there. West of the Twin Cities. That's what I said. But they're getting upset because you call it that, Westoapolis.
Well, they're upset because they realize what is happening. People are taking over areas. St. Louis Park is almost Muslim now. Bloomington is about to go Muslim. Richfield is about to go Muslim. Golden Valley is where a lot of real Africans live. Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, Africans. They're taking over. That's the part that they're bitching about.
Oh,
because they finally realizing what black people have been saying. It's just like those kids. I'm one more time, and I'm gonna let you go. I promise.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my eyes are real itchy. Hence, no makeup. Allergy season here in Minnesota. I would look like the walk of shame with makeup running down my face if I had it on. So.
Well, it's just like those kids who went to that black college talking about let's have a conversation about immigration.
Yeah.
My mindset was going, why have a talk now about immigration?
Yeah.
Why not have the talk about immigration when black people was saying, let's have this talk because look at what's about to happen. When black people was warning, saying, this is about to happen. We need to have this conversation. Something needs to be said. We need to talk about this. These white liberal Lutherans, these socialists are literally bringing people in and pushing black people out. We said that.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody wanted to sit and have that conversation with us. But all of a sudden, immigration now, when it's coming into your neighborhood, when they're taking over your schools, is important.
Wait, you gotta stop this immigration now.
Right.
We're white people, we can't have that.
Let's stop the
Well,
immigration. Yeah. Well,
that's probably why. It's because they consider black people as part of minorities, so it's like they consider, like, it's weird. It seems like white people it's white people or minorities. That's how they look at minorities, not black. It's all the same. They're just all non-white. And
people of
it's like,
color.
or people of color or so. But it's like, my God, you don't push any group of people out of their area. That's their area. And you don't give financial incentives for people to do that either.
Yep.
And that's what they did.
Exactly.
They just opened the floodgates. Come to Minnesota. We'll pay for the first 7 years while you're here. We'll
Yep.
pay for this, we'll pay for that. Well, you can kind of save up. But like I said, the Hmong people really took advantage of those programs. They built
did.
businesses.
They
They went to
did.
school. I know. I worked with a ton of Hmong immigrants that came over and took advantage of those programs, and they have their own, like, businesses,
Yep.
not just like little mom and pop shops. I'm
Yeah.
talking like carpet cleaning businesses that are, have a fleet of vehicles. And I'm like, wow, that is amazing that you've been able to accomplish that.
And
Those
they
are the
own the buildings.
Yes, they own the buildings. A lot of times, if it's when you see a lot of them in like St. Paul, they'll live above it and they have like their whole shop below it.
Yep.
And hey, short commute to work, I'm all for it. You won't get stuck in traffic going down the stairs. It's like those things, and those are the things that we like, me as a person, not as a white person, but those are the things as an American that I want immigrants to see and take advantage of and become successful and relish and really you know relish, and I guess uh, be humbled by the fact that they came here with nothing and look what they have now.
Look at what they got.
If it wasn't for the opportunities that America could give them, they wouldn't be here,
That's
be
right.
where they are. Back
That's right.
home, they would never have a business. They'd be sitting selling, pulling feathers off of chickens in a food market, and now they're sitting there pulling in, 6, 7 figures a year and have 401ks and have businesses and employees, and they're flourishing. I wish everybody would have that kind of mindset.
It'd be nice.
Yes,
It would
would.
be nice.
Wouldn't
All
it?
right. Hey,
Oh,
I've kept you long enough. We have been at this for 2 hours. I didn't realize how long
I
we've been
know.
on this thing, but we have been here for 2 hours. I so appreciate you coming and hanging out with me.
Oh, you're
Give me
welcome.
someone to talk to and to banter back and forth with.
Yeah.
It's good like this. So I thank you much.
Yeah.
You make sure you tell Dave I said thank you for me
I
keeping
will.
you. For me
Oh, I'm
keeping
sure
you
he's
and
happy. He's like, oh, Woody's occupied. She won't bother me right now. So it's all good.
Yes, ma'am. Anything you want to say before we jump off this thing?
No, I just like to thank your listeners, and I like coming on here and having these open forum discussions. And that's like, I think if we just start doing more and more of this and not have Not have it be a screaming match and not sitting there calling names and labeling people. Just have discussions and get an understanding what the other person is going through. That's what empathy is. It's not a made up word. It's not a manufactured word, like Charlie said. Empathy is understanding what the other person is going through because you have an understanding what how it feels because you have gone through something similar. May not be exact, but like for me, I empathize with people because I know what it's like to have not have anything and have to fight for things. I've been in abusive relationships. I've gone through those kind of situations and it's like I don't want that for anybody. So just to kind of have some empathy and put yourself in other people's shoes before you judge, you'll be surprised. Even though you may not agree with them, it doesn't mean you have to agree with them. You may not, understand it, but respect where they're coming from because you expect the same for yourself. And that's, basically give what you expect in return.
But here's my question. Do you really
hmm
think we want to sit down and talk to each other?
I don't know. I do. I love it. I think I love having these discussions. But the people who get paid to do that don't. So maybe they should just
Bingo.
start paying us. Paying
Bingo.
us to run this place. We'll run
Right.
the ship right.
Right.
We're probably more qualified than half of those clowns in DC and at Capitol Hill. And we're just
Unbelievable.
Minnesota folk that don't know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You got that
So,
right.
well,
Well,
thank you so much for having me again. And I'm come on anytime to discuss whatnot. And it's always a good time for me.
yes, ma'am. I thank you so much. And it's always a good time for me having you and you being here hanging out with me. So I thank you very much. And you have a good night and a great, great week. And may God keep blessing you.
You too. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We'll see you later.
Bye
Bye bye
bye.
now.
Bye.
Hey, fam, we went way, way over tonight. I'm totally sorry. But a lot of times when I get her on and her and I just start talking, because she's easy to talk to. So I'll apologize. No, I'm not apologizing because it was a good conversation. I think these are conversations that we actually really need to start sitting down and having. We need to stop being on the surface and go below the surface and really dig up the dirt so we can get this thing back on track. One of the things that I've keep telling everybody, and I'm going to say it again, if you have not read Jonah 3:10, I need you to pick up your Bible or get your phone and read Jonah 3:10. When we talk about violence, whether it's in the black community or the white community or the Hmong community or Latin community or the Mexican community, when we're talking about violence, there's a reason. There's really a reason why things are getting in to be so ugly. Until we do what he's asking us to do in Jonah 3:10, we're going to be in trouble and it's going to get worse. So there is a reason why people, where is God? At the homeless camp on Sunday, dude asked me that question. Where is God? And I had to really, really, really look him dead in the face and says, God is right here. The problem is you won't let him in. The problem is you won't give him, you cannot give up. You decide that God is more important. I mean, the dope is more important to God. So when God gets to be more important than this dope, you're going to know where God is. Like I told her, I'm not telling you something that I think. I'm telling you what I know. As long as you're sitting there shooting up your arms, you will not know God because the devil and Satan has you by the hand. God turned his face from his own son when he laid on the cross because he could not bear the sinful nature of him. Just like God cannot bear the sinful nature of you and I. So he has turned his face. Like I told him, I don't, look, one of the things that I don't do is I don't beat around the bush. I know a lot of people get pissed at me about a lot of things I say. I know they do. I ain't got time. Like I told you, I ain't got time to be playing around. And what I'm talking to the homeless guy. There was another guy that was looking at me like he was shocked that I said what I said. But what I said was the truth. The drugs that you have, that you're gonna go in your tent right now and shoot into your arm. Who's that? Oh, it's Winnie. The shoot into you are more important to you right now than God saving your life, God being a part of your life, God regulating your mind, God breaking your chains, God moving you in a spiritual way, God leading your path. That dope is more. What part of that did I just lie on? So if I say that, ain't no reason to look at me with a crooked face. Those are facts. What I said to him was a fact. I didn't lie to him, and I'm not going to lie to him. That's why this weekend I put out there, made sure I let people know, all these people, hey, I appreciate you guys come following me. Thank you. No, seriously, I do. I enjoy it because I get to meet new people and talk to new people. But here's the deal. Don't come over here thinking that I'm going to mince my words. No. You go hang out with Brandon Tatum. Well, you can't hang out with Candace Owens anymore because Candace changed her tune. Rob, what's that gay black so-called Republican? Go hang out with them. But I ain't here to play. I'm not here to play. I'm a Southern boy. Every now and then the Southern come out of me. I'm not here to play. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know straight up. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you things that you don't want to hear, and I'm going to tell you some things that you may want to hear. Right? I know how it works. I mean, listen to me. I know how it works when people want to hear what they want to hear. Hell, I got a award-winning journalist here in Minnesota blocked me because I didn't agree with what she wanted. I wouldn't go along with what she wanted to put out there. No, seriously, she blocked me. Not because I said something bad. I never said anything bad. It's because she knows I know the truth. And she don't want the truth to get out there. So in order for the truth not to get out there, it's better for her to just block me. So I know how this thing works, people. I know how this thing works. I know. So, but again, all the people who came out, who's been jumping on board and hanging out with us, welcome. I appreciate you. But again, don't come over here going, well, he's going to tell me what. No, probably not. Probably I'm going to tell you something and it's going to piss you off. And then you're going to go, there's no reason for me to follow him. And then you're going to come on here and go, well, I'm not going to follow you anymore. It's like I tell people, you brought your ass in without me knowing, take your ass out without me knowing. No, I'm being serious. I'm just saying, not playing that. I don't play that over here. But anyway, fam, let me get off this thing. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Like I said, I love having Winnie on. I love just sitting back talking to her because she has a rational mind. I don't have to worry about it. But we all realize and understand that we serve a God that is unbelievably great. A God that only thing we have to do is turn over our mind, our spirit, and our soul. And God's going to protect us because he said, I will never lead you and I I will never leave you, and I will never forsake you. That's a promise. And if you, just like I told that guy, give your heart, your mind, your spirit, and your soul, and you walk in his spirit. I'm not saying everything's going to go good, because I don't have good days. I don't. I had a bad day. A very, very ugly, nasty bad day. But you know what I didn't? I didn't turn around and blame it on my Lord and my Savior. I didn't. I still got faith that no matter what goes on with me, he's going to be right there for me. And you know what that does? That put a smile on my face. And y'all know what we do with those smiles. We take them out and we smile at somebody, so somebody smile back at you. Peace, fam. We're out. Y'all have a good one. Bye now.